It's time. Time to get credit for the work you've done. Time to get the recognition you deserve. With Purdue Global, you can move forward in your career, for your family, and for yourself. You're worth the investment in yourself to earn a degree you're proud of, a degree that employers will respect. Purdue's online university is designed to support working adults like you who know it's never too late to accomplish your goals. It's never too late to make a comeback. It's time to start yours today at purdueglobal.edu.
Simple Truth brand makes it easy to find better-for-you products that are free from unwanted ingredients. From fresh produce and snacks to household cleaners and more. You won't find artificial ingredients, preservatives, or harsh chemicals in Simple Truth products. So you can fill your fridge and your home with simple, easy-to-understand choices you can feel good about. Just look for the green Simple Truth circle to get the quality items you want, free from the ingredients you don't want. Simple Truth, exclusively at Baker's.
Episode 359, Do You Need Frugality to Reach Financial Freedom? With Jamila Souffrant.
Welcome to the Frugal Friends podcast, where you'll learn to save money, embrace simplicity, and live a richer life. Here are your hosts, Jen and Jill.
Welcome to the Frugal Friends podcast. My name is Jen.
My name is Jill.
And today we are having a really fun conversation with our friend Jamila Souffrant of the Journey to Launch podcast. She just wrote a book that releases in just a few days, Your Journey to Financial Freedom, a step-by-step guide to achieving wealth and happiness. We are so excited for it. We're so excited for her. And so we wanted to have a conversation that was maybe a little different than the conversations she's going to have on other podcasts promoting the book. But just because we've known her for so long, we wanted to talk about, do you need frugality to reach financial freedom? And if so, to what extent? So, because we all know that frugality can only go so far. Cutting expenses and spending on your, in your values can only go so far, but how far? So that's a really fun conversation.
Yes, we are really aligned in a lot of our thinking, but something that I found fun about this conversation is some of the different ways that Jamila describes these concepts that you and I, Jen, talk about a lot, but fresh perspective, new metaphors, we could all use that.
Yeah, and where you can find your radical middle in using frugality to reach financial freedom or financial independence. But first, this episode is brought to you by Cheesecake. Clan McGlynn, a subscriber of the Friend Letter, told us, I just had my free Cheesecake Factory slice of heaven for my birthday thanks to your free Cheesecake Day post. That by far was the best birthday freebie out there. And you too could be getting all these freebies by signing up for the Friend Letter. Yeah, that's right. We don't just send you free digital worksheets and spreadsheets like all these other people are doing. We're telling you where to find free food on your birthday, but every single week we tell you where to find it, not just on your birthday. So head to frugalfriendspodcast.com, sign up. If you're already, it's free, so why wouldn't you? If you're already a member receiving the Friend Letter for free, share your unique link at the bottom of the Friend Letter. Share it in your Slack channel, the nearest Microsoft Teams, anywhere there is people, in your Instagram stories, because you can get free Frugal Friends merch for every friend that you have that signs up for the Friend Letter. So
that's my favorite part.
Go forth and cheesecake.
You could even get a sweatshirt if you refer so many people.
Yes.
But the stickers are cool too.
I love the stickers. My son loves the stickers. I'm looking at one on his dresser right now. So it's December 1st, and you're probably expecting some holiday content. We are going to do all of our holiday savings tips. We took an inventory of what you guys wanted, and we're going to give you everything you want in the Friend Letter. So that's another reason you should sign up for the Friend Letter. We're going to be talking about tips for saving on food, tips for saving on parties, decor, gifts. All of that is coming to you in the Friend Letter. But we wanted to tell you the episodes we've done in the past if you wanted some audio content. And those audio, the podcast will also be in the friend letter. But we'll just tell you up front because you're listening today. So our episode last year, 261, Let's Normalize Secondhand Gifting. Love that one. That one's my favorite. We got episode 184, Tips to Prepare for Holiday Sales Early. Episode 133, Tips for Avoiding Holiday Impulse Buying. And then all the way in the archives, episode 33, Frugal Christmas Fun. We talk about free holiday activities and frugal traditions that you can look for. So cue those up for all your holiday listening needs. And please re-queue up our Black Friday episode. If you haven't listened to it yet, episode 357, Frugality is Giving Big Impact Energy. Listen to that before you do any holiday shopping.
It's the mindset you need. So Jamila Souffrant is the author of Your Journey to Financial Freedom, a step-by-step guide to achieving wealth and happiness, which you can pre-order now. I believe she said on the pod it launches December 5th. So you're right in the pocket. And there's a sports reference for you.
Yeah, you have a few more days to get the pre-order freebies, which is why we're putting this episode out today and not in 3 more episodes, because we want you to get the freebies.
Yeah, but act fast. Jamila is also the host of the Journey to Launch podcast. She and her husband saved $169,000 in 2 years. She's also the mother of 3 young children. She lives in Brooklyn, New York. Those are just some fun stats about her, but also she's a fun person. She's got a lot of really unique, approachable, helpful things to say about financial freedom. So let's get to her.
Jamila, welcome back to Frugal Friends podcast. Love having you here.
Well, thank you for having me.
This is so exciting for us to get together with some fellow financial people and talk about some of our favorite topics together, including your book. Thanks for being here. Just to kick us off, Jamila, I am curious to hear your perspective on the difference between financial freedom and financial independence. And of course, as you answer that question, feel free to introduce yourself. But we're just diving right in. Financial freedom versus financial independence. What you got for us?
Let's get straight to it. But you did the intro before, but I'm Jamila Souffrant of the Journey to Launch podcast, and now writer, author of this book, Your Journey to Financial Freedom. And honestly, I know that people tend to describe or use the terms financial freedom and financial independence interchangeably, especially if you're not in the FIRE movement or the financial independence retire early movement. And so for the purposes of my content, and especially the book, I wanted to differentiate what I meant by it. And, they can be similar, but, ultimately financial independence is the ability to not have to work actively ever again because you can live off of your investments and your portfolio. And that sounds amazing. It sounded amazing to me when I first heard and found out about it. And then financial freedom, I believe, is something you can achieve on the way to financial independence. It's not necessarily tied to a number in your account or what you can or can't do, but more about flexibility and options. And so you can still be in debt and have some level of financial freedom, or still working in a job and have financial freedom if you can pay your bills, or you can choose to go out with friends and family without feeling overwhelmed with that choice, or just you have some sort of control over your money as much as you feel comfortable. So freedom is something you can obtain and have on the pathway to financial independence. You don't need to wait for a number in the account to feel that.
Yeah.
I love that distinction. To me, it sounds like it is more accessible to people almost at any point, and it doesn't have to be tied to an income level or a savings amount, but that we could kind of define how it looks along the way.
Yeah, we're definitely like financial freedom people. It is truly like the radical middle of like between financial independence and kind of YOLOing, right? Like when we start, like financial independence sounds great. And then somewhere along the line, it's like, why am I working all of this time what about the right now?
Right. Well, it's funny you say that. So in the book, I talk about imagining going and walking into a like finance high school, and you see all these tables. You know how to like you walk into high school, there's all these tables associated with groups. So that's the jocks, it's the art club, it's like whatever. And so I thought, okay, if you walk into this financial high school, they have all these clubs and tables, and then there is the regular personal finance table where, you know, they're talking about like the basics and, you know, put away maybe 10% of your income and budget and look at your credit score and all the great things we should be doing. And there is the YOLO table. I talk about that where it's just like, screw that. We're going to live our lives. What are we working for? Let's get to it. We'll figure it out after. And then there's the elite fire table where they are crunching the numbers, they're saving 50% or more of their income. And it's very appealing. So like you walk in and you're kind of interested now in getting your finances in order. And like you're looking at them, you're like, okay, who can I sit with? Who do I want to sit with? And that's how I felt when I intentionally embarked on getting my finances in order. It's like I definitely tried to sit at the elite fire table and did those things for the first couple of years, and they were amazing. And I definitely was aware of the general personal finance stuff, but I knew I didn't want to do that, the basics, because the basics would keep me locked into like a basic path to retirement if I ever got there based on what they thought. And then I didn't want to live YOLO, but I wanted some parts of that. I still wanted to enjoy my life. And so how do you take elements from all of that so that you can craft a unique journey? And so I believe that's what I've done with my book. But I love that you brought that up, because I do think a lot of people are faced with that. Or if they're starting to get more aware of finances, they come to that decision and have to make a choice. Also want to say it's okay to move around to different tables. You don't have to choose one and sit there forever.
Mm-hmm.
Yes. What a
Yes.
fun visual. I was imagining Jen and I just kind of going to every table and getting the free samples and cookies and chips offered at every table. That's kind of how we're doing
friends
it.
with
What school did
everybody.
you go to, Jill? Jill,
Right. You're friends with everybody.
That really was Jill's reality. She went to every table and they actually did give her chips and salsa.
What do you have for
Everybody
me?
just gave her part of their lunch. Yeah. For the rest of us, it was not cost. We did not go to high school at Costco. So all right, here's a tricky question. Do you have to be frugal to reach financial freedom?
Ooh, okay. It all depends on your desires and what you want your lifestyle to be. So if frugality feels good, and there are levels to frugality, because you can be frugal in all areas. Like your overall life and budget is frugal. Like you just do not spend in anything or many areas. And that's fine to you. That feels good. And if that feels good, then your journey to financial independence, depending on how much you make and all those other factors, it's very possible to hit that mark and to hit that financial independence number. And if you do not feel happy living a frugal lifestyle in all areas of your life, or you desire more to spend more in different areas, it's not that it's harder or impossible. It just will take more effort and income to support your lifestyle desires. And so frugality is definitely a superpower in reaching financial independence, especially if you have a good income, which I find a lot of people intentionally in the movement do, but it doesn't make it impossible if you don't. But you don't need to be frugal in all areas to reach financial independence or get to freedom.
Yes.
So succinctly said. Yeah, it can be that superpower, but you don't have to be implementing that in order to find this financial freedom, which I do think aligns a lot with what we talk about as far as values-based spending, that there are areas that you can spend guilt-free and other areas where you might just say no. And it's really no harm to you. It's not hard to say no to these things once you really realize what's actually important. And like you're saying, how you even define financial freedom. Like, I don't know, I'm sure it shifted for you along the way, but I'm curious kind of what did that look like for you kind of through the thick of it? How, like, to what degrees was frugality a part of it?
So I believe that depending on the stage of the journey you're in, and I also have a lot of frameworks that I hope are helpful to people because they were helpful to me in figuring out. And so I have 5 journeyer levels in which you need to travel to reach financial independence. And then I have something called, which I know we'll get into, 5 guac levels. And that more tied to how much you want to spend. And for me, because when I discovered financial independence, I did not enjoy what I was doing full time. I had an hour and a half normal, like one-way driving commute. I was starting to have kids. So I was pregnant with my first child. That really prompted me to be like, no, this is not going to be it. I have to figure something else out. And so with those external circumstances, a job that I didn't really love, starting a family, a long commute, I was more energized and motivated to do whatever it took to get myself out of that situation, which meant when I started my journey intentionally to financial independence, I was more inclined to cut back in spending so that I can leave my job. And so I discovered financial independence. I started listening to the podcasts and all the blogs, or reading the blogs, and started to plot my journey. And I thought, okay, well, I don't like this job. So I'd rather cut out things in my budget that will allow me to quit this job and reach this mark or this number in my accounts. And at that time, I had declared by 40 years old to be able to do that. And I was going to do it by any means because it meant more to me to be able to leave that situation. So in the 2 years, we intentionally saved and invested money. We were able to invest and save $169,000 of our income towards all the accounts and optimize and do all the things. As I started moving further on my journey, I started Journey to Launch as a blog, then podcast, and got, by then, now my third child I'm pregnant with, and realized even though this job I'm in is good in terms of money, it's still not something I love. And now there's even more on my plate. I have more kids. I have this business that seems to be growing and doing well in terms of reach, not necessarily money because it wasn't making money then. And then, this commute, all these things. And, I said to myself, what's more important? So should I stay in this job because I'm getting the money and just thug it out for the next few years so I could reach financial independence? Or do I have a different route? And for me, the cutting back or saving was helpful to get me to a stage in which I could quit my job because we had all the money saved now. We had the FU fund together. I put myself in a better position. But I also realized that lifestyle for me wasn't as sustainable. Like I wasn't as happy cutting back, but it was necessary in those first couple of years and in the beginning journeyer stages for me to do that. And I think a lot of people come to that realization, and you don't know some of these things until you start the journey, what feels good, what doesn't, but you can adjust. And for me, I adjusted what I thought I wanted to spend. I leaned more into spending in certain areas, still cut back in certain areas, because really what was important to me was my lifestyle and how I was going to do that with 3 kids and a husband in New York City while still feeling good about my life.
Yeah, I think it's great to point out that you live in New York City, you have 3 kids, and you are the breadwinner. Like you are the breadwinner of the family, and you're cutting back to like leave your job. This isn't like some people who like reach out to us to be on the show are like, yeah, we're like me and we find out both of them are making like 6-figure like entrepreneurs and just have these like lifestyles that of course they lend themselves to financial independence. No children, low cost of living, high income jobs, like of course, but that's so unrelatable. So like the path that you took of prioritizing different things, sitting at different tables in the lunchroom at different times in the times that made the most sense is so relatable. And that's what's hard to navigate. And you like navigated it so well.
So yeah, it's understanding when to get up from like the table. Like it's okay. And it doesn't mean like I'm not friends with those people anymore. It's just not, I have another priority or thing to do and people I need to get to know or things I need to learn. And it's okay to change your mind in that. And I always say, so I believe frugality, like income, is a big driver of any of this. And I'm like you. So I interview a lot of people and know a lot of people. And even in my story, a lot of people who are choosing to spend a percent of their money with a high income, that's a privilege, right? Because you have people, so you'll hear someone say, I only spend $20,000 or 25. And it's just like, and they're able to reach a lot of their goals because they're earning a lot of money. But then you have people who are literally like barely earning that and have to live that way and they don't enjoy it, right? It's not a choice they would make, which is why I feel like it's someone like me and a lot of people, when they think of pursuing this and they maybe talk to family and friends, especially like coming from people who maybe did not grow up with a lot. So for example, my mom, she didn't grow up with a lot of money. She was, for a lot of her childhood, didn't have running water. She grew up on the island of Jamaica. That's where I was born. And so for some people to choose to spend less, like when you don't have to, it just doesn't seem like it seems like you're hustling backwards. Like, then why, come to this country, or why make the money you make if you only want to spend that? Because that's how much I was forced to spend and I didn't enjoy it. And so I think it's a layered level of when we talk about frugality, that when it's a choice, it's definitely a superpower. It feels good. You feel empowered. For some people who don't have the choice, it doesn't feel that way. They don't want to live that life. They want to spend more. They feel, that they deserve to spend more. And I can see that. But I think for some people, there's a conflict there, especially when they're just getting into learning about maybe personal finance, where cutting back or frugality just feels like more of a, like, I don't want to do that. Like, why did I go to school? Why do I work so hard if I can't spend in the way that I want?
AI might be the most important new computer technology ever. It's storming every industry, and literally billions of dollars are being invested. So, buckle up. The problem is that AI needs a lot of speed and processing power. So, how do you compete without costs spiraling out of control? It's time to upgrade to the next generation of the cloud, Oracle Cloud Infrastructure, or OCI. OCI is a single platform for your infrastructure, database, application development, and AI needs. OCI has 4 to 8 times the bandwidth of other clouds, offers one consistent price instead of variable regional pricing. And of course, nobody does data better than Oracle. So now you can train your AI models at twice the speed and less than half the cost of other clouds. If you want to do more and spend less, like Uber, 8x8, and Databricks Mosaic, take a free test drive of OCI at oracle.com/strategic. That's oracle.com/strategic. oracle.com/strategic.
Simple Truth brand makes it easy to find better for you products that are free from unwanted ingredients. From fresh produce and snacks to household cleaners and more. You won't find artificial ingredients, preservatives, or harsh chemicals in Simple Truth products. So you can fill your fridge and your home with simple, easy-to-understand choices you can feel good about. Just look for the green Simple Truth circle to get the quality items you want, free from the ingredients you don't want. Simple Truth, exclusively at Baker's.
You're hitting on so many important pieces, and it's making me recognize in maybe some new ways my own definition of financial freedom and where I feel drawn to. Sometimes I can oscillate between, let me just reduce my spending as much as possible. And then other times, and I'm like, okay, I want to make money, and how much can I possibly make? And let me just hustle. And then other times I'm doing better at holding the tension there. But ultimately, what I'm discovering about myself is I would rather have time flexibility. And so I'd like to make a decent amount enough. I'd like to identify enough and be able to just live a comfortable, simple life within the midst of that is how I would define it. Like you said, it's not a number. And I so appreciate what you're describing too, of it being so important to understand your background and money story in how it's playing into your definition of financial freedom. What aspects are life-giving to you in it? What aspects are depleting? What mindsets need to be shifted? And what's good? What will just help you and can stay there? So the story you've described of yourself and your journey is so helpful. And I'm curious what you would also say, Jamila, to others in their own defining of this. Like, you found your path to financial freedom. What do you see are the different types of paths for others in here?
Yeah, I think so as much as a lot of what we talk about is external, like doing a lot of external work and relying on external circumstances, it's true. Like, you have other people you need to work with. You may have a boss, the markets, like, news cycles, all the craziness happening in the world. Like, there's so much external things happening that impact our lives. But I think there's a lot, as much as the journey is external, it's internal, about like who we are, how we feel, what we feel when we wake up in the morning, whether that is feeling safe or happy or not. And that can change on a day-to-day basis. It changes for me. Some days I wake up energized. Some days I'm just like, oh man, so I think understanding who you are is the real journey. And that's not easy. That's not an easy one. Also giving yourself grace in changing your mind, because you don't know all the things you need to know yet to make all the decisions. And so in the book, like I say, like, you are going to chart and like map out what your initial plan may look like. But you are going to come back to this plan, because as you start moving forward, you're going to change your mind about things. And that's okay. You know, you got to recalibrate. You have better information now. You know more about yourself. So I think understanding who you are and starting the journey is important. You don't have to have everything correct or everything right. But then as you get more information, you can choose, like, wow, you know, I tried to do this thing. I try to budget in this way or cut back in this way, and it feels good, or it feels like a lot of friction. Now, is that friction that is good friction? Because I believe that friction is good. Hard work actually is good. You know, I go to the gym. And so when I'm pushing myself, there's a point where you're pushing yourself too much and it's not healthy. And it's a point where, you know, you're breaking through to another level. So understanding that within yourself, and which takes awareness and time, will help you decide like what feels good. And important to note that, because I make mistakes still now too. So, you know, what feels good, what doesn't, you know, all that I decide on a day-to-day basis. I take the information I have now to make better decisions. And that's what people just need to do on the journey. And it's going to be different for everyone.
We don't love hearing that we have to start with self-knowledge and understanding, because that does sound like work. But man, I couldn't agree more.
Yeah. And it is lifelong work. Like, anybody who says they have it, like, oh, I have the formula and I've come to completion and I have reached Mecca. I am done. Like,
and you're probably dead. And you probably died.
Yeah, they are right. If they're
not to
lucky
laugh about that, but
right.
Yeah.
Most people like don't master anything. Things are not meant to be mastered in life. It's just meant to like keep pursuing forward. And so it's like that's the beauty of like a content like podcasting or blogging or videos, is that I mean, books are great. We're also writing a book, but like the books don't change, but you can always change your mind throughout like a content series. And so as you grow, like people know why you're growing and how you're growing. So like I love that. But yeah, like I've still, you know, talk about like not buying fast fashion because it's like it doesn't last as long and it ends up, you know, costing more money in the long run. And like last week, I bought a shirt from Target and a sweater from Old Navy, like and some leggings from Walmart, you know? So like nobody's perfect. And I'm outing myself.
You are
right here.
You're like more than you needed to, because you just went to 3 places.
I'm horrible at keeping secrets.
Target and then Old Navy and then Walmart.
Yes. Yeah, I did, and I'm here for it. But yeah, like these are guidelines and discovering yourself and what feels good, not just a process, but also changes. Like I would say. So when I was in acupuncture school, they really talked a lot about like, I don't know, moon cycles and cycles of yin and yang. And for women, it was like every 7 years is a yin cycle and you change like completely every 7 years. And I was like, dang, I really feel that actually. Like now that I'm in my 30s, I'm like, I really feel like I have fully become a different person every 7 years of my life.
Yeah.
So
yeah,
I don't know if that's why.
True for me too.
Oh, it's so hard to like, and then anticipate reevaluating every 7 years and coming up with a whole new plan. Frustrating. So, move it. So let's sit in that.
Question.
How do you? So Jamila, like, how do you like balance what you sit with, like what feels good? Like what you're frugal in versus like what you're not. Like what do you really lean into, and then how do you decide I'm not going to lean into this because it just doesn't feel good anymore?
So I think what feels natural to me to not do, where I'm not forcing or doing it for other people's gaze or expectations. So for example, and a part of this is laziness. So laziness gets a bad rep, but it saved me a lot of money. I think I'm now coming to a realization too about myself. I am I'm lazy in terms I'm lazy in terms of physical appearance outside of like I like working out and like looking fit. But when it comes to beauty related things, I've never been into those things, which have saved me a lot of money. Like nails, hair, eyebrows, eyelashes. I love when I end up doing it and I look great. But what I learned about myself, I even did this thing when I turned my birthday. I turned 40 earlier this year. And I did what I called Operation City Girl because I was just like, okay, what will it be like if I did all the things, especially for my birthday, because we're going away on a birthday trip. Got my hair done, got my eyelashes, the individual lashes that take forever to do.
Wow.
Got my nails done. I did all the things. So I was like Operation City Girl. Let's see about time that it takes to do all this, the money, the energy. And I did a whole episode on it because it wasn't just the money. The money was a lot to do, but it was also the time it takes to do these things, which again, for me, it was outside my norm. And when I don't do those things, I'm completely happy. If I don't have to get my nails done or go to do these things, it makes me feel good. So naturally, for me, being frugal in those areas or cheap or lazy works. It doesn't feel like friction. It feels like that's better for me. Of course, when I have to go to events and do things, I do those things, whatever. But that's an easy choice. Some other things, like when it comes to going out to eat or maybe vacations, that feels a little harder. It feels like more friction. I want to be able to eat and go out to eat and not think about it too much. Of course, I'm not just buying everything on the menu. I still kind of base things on price a bit, if I'm being honest. But I want to be able to go and order the guacamole, which is why I talked about it in guac lifestyle levels. And so I think when it's natural, for me in terms of beauty stuff, I save hundreds of dollars versus someone like my friend, my best friend. She has been getting her lashes done, I don't know, for years now. And she has to go every 3 or 4 weeks. She spends her money and she feels good. That is an investment for her. And it's worth every dollar and time or minutes it takes. And I'm like, no, ma'am, I don't want to do that. And so I think, and there's no judgment, she's fine. That's what she wants to do. And I think it's just realizing what that looks like for you, what feels natural, what feels good not to do and not to get bullied. Because I have some friends would be like, you should do more. I'm like, why? I'm fine without doing more, not to be too influenced by outside people or things or expectations. But then also, if you do like those things and it does make you feel good and you show up in the world, not better, but you feel like it's authentic to you, then do it. But no, there's a trade-off. So I think all that is going to be individual, a process and being honest with yourself about what that feels like.
Yeah, because it sounds like you like it. It looks good also to have your nails done, but it's also not this high value priority to have it all the time. You can be happy with, I'm going to do it for my birthday and I'll do it for a speaking event, but otherwise this isn't something I do all of the time. And I'm also content and happy with that too. And like you said, that's going to take self-knowledge. But I'm curious about this guac lifestyle because any food reference we're all here for. Whoa, what are you talking about? What's this guac lifestyle?
Right. So you will be the first podcast episode. I think I officially told this. So, the name of the book is Your Journey to Financial Freedom. But one of the things that when I went out with the proposal, I mentioned the guac lifestyle levels in it. And so then I thought of why don't the name of the book could have also been Buy the Damn Guac. But then I thought it was too specific. And then what if people don't like guacamole? But I envisioned a guacamole, not a guacamole, either guacamole or avocado on the cover and it being green and all these things. Someone don't steal my idea because, I may still do something like that. But I wanted to talk about how people feel about how they spend and the lifestyle levels because it varies for everyone. And sometimes we blanket conversations or ideas around personal finance. And if a person doesn't want to spend or likes to spend in a certain way, how do you get it on a level in which it makes it just more relatable and you have a base point of what things mean. So the guac lifestyle levels are a range of how you want to spend. And so guac level 1 is you're more frugal. You don't spend much on anything. You would never buy guacamole at the restaurant because you will make it at home. You'll figure it out. Guac level 5 is the highest level of expense. You have your own guac factory, a guac chef. I don't know. You live a higher level lifestyle where you spend a lot more. And then it's a range in between that 1 to 5. So guac level 1, 2, 3, 4, and 5. And if you don't like guacamole, replace it with something else you enjoy. Wine, cheese, it can be anything. And that like helps you figure out, okay, am I actually living the current guac lifestyle I enjoy? And if you are, and it's at a lower level, then some of the things we talk about in finance, like cutting back and doing certain things, actually excite you. Like you're like, that's no problem, let's do it. But if you don't enjoy that, like you're living at guac level 1 or 2 by force, so kind of like what I talked about earlier about not wanting to be frugal, but having to because of circumstance, but you really desire a 4 or 5, and you actually try to live that way, it will explain why it's so hard for you to get out of the journey or stages I talked about, like getting out of the earlier levels or part of your journey. And so just understanding where you are and what your desires are, what you're willing to maybe sacrifice. So some people who truly like guac style 3, 4, or 5 may say, like I did, I'll do 1 and 2 to get me to this level, to allow me to quit my job. And then I can adjust back to more of a 3, 4 level in which I actually enjoy. Some people live the 1, 2, and they want to do that throughout their journey and when they reach financial independence. Some people are living a 4, 5 and can't afford really a 4 or 5, and they should like hold off on that until they get in a better financial situation. So it's just I hope a relatable, fun way to think about how you spend and what you want your lifestyle to look like.
I love it because it's actually like guacamole is fun, but it's something that's kind of not tied to your emotions. That if you gave an actual range of this is kind of the lifestyle, you can look at it like objectively and be like, oh gosh, I am like living at 4, 5, and I should probably be 2, 3 in this season. Not necessarily like owning a guacamole factory, but I was thinking like tableside guac. That seems like the ultimate. Like,
I was thinking that too, like
for me. But if I'm trying to get off debt, maybe like I'm foregoing tableside guac and, getting the pre-made guac at Trader Joe's. Like,
right.
Just moving back a little bit. You don't have to move all the way back to 1 if you're not ready. But yeah, taking something that's like outside of, your actual, because so often I feel like we say, we ask ourselves like, why am I doing this? Why this? But I think Jill like taught me using questions that are not why, but like how. Is that how you phrase it, Jill? Like,
yeah. How, what, where, when. Why is a great question in certain circumstances, but when it comes to understanding ourselves, sometimes it can put us on the defense when we start there. It's much different to say, why did you just spend so much time shopping versus what is it about shopping that you really enjoy? Like I'm asking the same thing, but different responses. One posture, we clam up, we're defensive. The other one, we become more curious.
Yeah.
Yeah, I actually love that. And I'm like, were you here with me writing the book? Because I'm trying to find a part in here where I actually say, we have to ask ourselves better questions. So for people who are just learning about maybe this movement and what they need to do to get there, if you ask yourself like the wrong type of question, it could be discouraging. Like, can I reach financial independence? And so like that is like usually like a black or white like answer, like yes or no, but you don't have enough information to answer it that way. And so most likely you answer it negatively because you don't know what you don't know yet, versus how can I reach financial independence is like a different, like it requires you to become more creative and figure out and be a problem solver instead of, oh, I can't do anything about it. So I love that.
And we love solving a problem, and we love answering questions in a new way. And we love asking questions in the same way every week.
It never changes. We usually yell the question.
Yeah. It's
the bill of the week.
That's right. It's time for the best minute of your entire week. Maybe a baby was born and his name is William. Maybe you paid off your mortgage. Maybe your car died and you're happy to not have to pay that bill anymore. Duck bills, Buffalo Bills, Bill Clinton. This is the bill of the week.
Jamila, every week we yell at our guests or our listeners and ask them, what is your bill of the week? Not why is your bill of the week, but what is your bill of the week? It's a healthy question, and it builds everybody up. And so we would love to know yours.
Yeah. Okay. So took my kids to Disney for the first time in the summer and, did all the things. And I realized they didn't really have a lot of Disney like references. They didn't watch a lot of Disney movies. And I was like, wow, so they enjoyed a lot of the things, but I'm like, they would have enjoyed this so much more if they would have watched a lot of the movies or had knowledge. So came back home and finally, after putting it off, subscribed to the Disney Plus, whatever thing they have, streaming service, so that they could start to understand or learn more about like all the Disney stuff when they go again, which we're going back next year. And so I'm like excited about that. And I had no problem paying for it. It was like, should I pay monthly or annually? Of course, I was like, I could save money if I do it annually. So let me do it that way. And so I feel like I'm excited about that bill because hopefully now though, they will watch it because you know how kids are. I'm like, you still really going to go ahead and do Roblox? Like I just did Disney for you. So we'll see.
Yeah. That's so funny. So we live like an hour and a half from Disney in St. Pete. And so I personally, I don't want to put this on my family. I have been a Disney person since my son was born. And so the minute Disney Plus came out, we signed up, and I literally just signed up to cancel the subscription last week because we've had it for a really long time. We love Star Wars. We love Marvel. We love all that stuff. And so it was a requirement. But they're spending, or they're charging us like $40 more per year. And it's not like a big jump, but usually the jump is like $10 per year. And we're like, none of the shows that we want come out for like 6 months. So like, let's skip it for 6 months. We'll do something else. And then once the first show we want is fully on, we'll sign up again and binge it. But I have found that my son he would rather watch like somebody play Mario Kart than watch a Disney. We tried last night, Jamila, we tried to watch The New Little Mermaid. And then the shark came on like 5 seconds in, and he's like, I don't like it. And I was like, man,
well,
whatever.
That's the thing. I feel so same thing. My kids are 9, 7, and 5. And so, they're really into watching people play video games now and playing, on NBA 2K, 3K or whatever. And I'm just like, so my son, I said to him, if I buy this, because he's the main one, my oldest one, he wants to watch Star Wars, all the movies. So I was like, are you going to watch it? And I'm like, it's okay because I want to watch it. So for me, ultimately, if they don't end up watching it as much, I will be using that subscription.
Yeah,
that's amazing.
The subscription was for me and my husband.
Well, I think this is a good bill too, because you are talking about investing in something so that you can make the most of the money you invest on your vacation, because you're not necessarily getting the most out of it if all of it's being lost. And the levels of enjoyment, you are buying enjoyment by buying this subscription. That's amazing. Yes. If you all listening have a bill about a subscription you don't mind paying for, or a vacation you don't mind paying for, or a bill you don't have to pay suddenly because who knows why, you just don't owe them money anymore, or your name is Bill. None of these things have happened to you, but you are Bill and you've moved through life with that name. Visit frugalfriendspodcast.com/Bill. We cannot wait to hear from you.
Especially if you're Bill.
And now it's time for the lightning round. Pew, 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 pew.
Pew. All right.
Simple Truth brand makes it easy to find better-for-you products that are free from unwanted ingredients. From fresh produce and snacks to household cleaners and more. You won't find artificial ingredients, preservatives, or harsh chemicals in Simple Truth products. So you can fill your fridge and your home with simple, easy-to-understand choices you can feel good about. Just look for the green Simple Truth circle to get the quality items you want, free from the ingredients you don't want. Simple Truth, exclusively at Baker's.
It's never too late. Never too late to earn a degree. Never too late for a comeback. Between your busy career and taking care of a family, It can feel like there's never a good time to go back to school. But your time is now. Time to start your comeback with Purdue Global. As Purdue's online university for working adults, Purdue Global is dedicated to supporting adults like you who know it's time to earn the recognition you deserve. You have the experience, you have the knowledge, it's time to get credit for the work you've done. You can balance work, family, and everything in between while earning your degree. It's time to move forward in your career, for your family and for yourself, with a degree you're proud of, a degree that employers will recognize and respect. You're worth this investment in yourself to earn a degree you deserve. It's never too late. Never too late to go back to school and come back stronger with an education you can trust. Now is the time for your comeback. Start yours today at purdueglobal.edu.
Right. So this is the vulnerability round of the show. And if Disney Plus wasn't Disney Plus and canceling Disney Plus and telling people about my 3-item shopping spree, if that wasn't vulnerable enough, get ready. So our question today is, what was the first step you took that you believe had the most significant impact on your journey towards financial freedom? So what did baby Jamila do to really
Jamila?
Maybe not baby. Like,
I'm confused too.
Infant Jamila. No, like what was the most, let's rewind what I said.
Are you thinking about, are you like baby steps? Is that what you're thinking?
I'm thinking like, if I said like baby Jen, it would have been me like in my 20s.
Right. Okay.
Yeah,
okay. That was helpful. No, I'm glad we clarified that.
No, I like that. Okay.
You can send all of your hate mail to Jen at frugalfriendspodcast.com. She's also the one who bought from Target, Walmart, Old Navy. So all of it. Jen at frugalfriendspodcast.com.
Don't at Jill. She has straight hair. Wow. I have curly hair. Yeah.
Okay. So I love this question, and I'll try to like make this short. So in the book, I also talk about something called hyperlinks. And you read an article or a story, and it's highlighted, and you click on it, and it takes you down the rabbit hole and more hyperlinks. And so I really do believe our life is a story it's made of a lot of hyperlinks that we choose to click on or not. And so when you ask that about like, what did I maybe do that helped me a lot? It's like, even when I pinpointed that moment, it's like another moment led to that moment. It's like kind of reversing back, like reverse engineering the hyperlinks in my life, where it's just like, so probably the most biggest impact was being able to buy my condo at 22 years old in Dumbo, Brooklyn, which I didn't know would blow up to be such an amazing, very costly place to live. So that was my greatest investment. But in order to be able to do that, something else had to happen before that in order to do that. And so it's just like, there's no way to pinpoint because the hyperlinks are all connected. And I really do feel like the journey, for me at least, and for a lot of people, is so connected. And it's just not one thing. It's just like everything compounds and, interest rates compound. I believe the moments in our life compound. And, if I had to go all the way back, like it really starts from my mom and the sacrifice she made when she came here to the States at 20 years old and had to leave me behind to find a better life. And so all that, I think, impacted this person you hear today.
So it does begin with baby Jamila.
It does.
Jen wasn't
you're right,
wrong.
Jen. That never happens, actually.
Wow. That's so beautiful. Oh, yeah. I resonate with that so much. I don't know that I could truly tell you exactly what was the first step I took that had the most impact. But if I titrate it down, I do think it comes to my thoughts and belief systems. And I can't totally tell you what helped me make the shift, but probably if I were to take some educated guesses, it would be opening up and talking about finances with people, being more and more willing to have these conversations with myself, with my spouse, with trusted community, with people who I perceived were a few steps ahead of me. That all helped me to believe that I could make beneficial decisions and changes in my finances. I mean, many of our listeners know that my background is in social work. I still hold some work in the social work field and have historically not made a ton of money in that career. And I think it was recognizing I can still work towards paying down my debt. I can still make good financial decisions, and it doesn't have to mean I need to change my career. I think beginning to believe that really was a massive help and impact on my journey. What about you, Jen?
So for me, I'll give 2 events, but they happened in this like span of 6 months. So for me, it was like the path that led me down, specifically talking about frugality, when there are so many more profitable subjects that I could have talked about in my life. But the change that did it for me was getting shingles. And that was prompted by deciding to pay off our debt when we got married. So we made this decision to pay off the $78,000. And I thought I could side hustle my way out of it. I was not going to choose frugality at all. I was not going to live on guac level 1. Like, I was just going to side hustle my way out and make more money and not change my lifestyle. And after 2 months of that, I got shingles from stress, from like overworking myself. And that's what forced me to really inspect like my spending, my ideas about spending, my ideas about budgeting and deprivation, and how budgets are deprivation. And I still don't love a budget. But it was getting shingles that led me down this path of like, I want everyone to know how freeing frugality is and how there are different levels in this radical middle. And it didn't start out that way, but it's evolved as a direct result of the podcast. That's maybe the 3rd event like that was life-changing. So yeah, it was that.
This is lovely lightning round.
Yeah, I love that.
Jamila, thank you so much for being here with us. You've got a lot going on. So if people want more, can you tell us about what you've got? Where can they find you?
Yeah, so you can buy my book, Your Journey to Financial Freedom, a step-by-step guide to achieving wealth and happiness. It's available now, I believe, you can buy it now, but it's officially in stores December 5th. You can go to yourjourneytofinancialfreedom.com, see what special bonus I have for anyone who's pre-ordering. Order it from anywhere, bookshop.org to support your local bookstores. Of course, all the other online retailers, Amazon, Target, Walmart, walking into your local bookstores, Barnes & Nobles, all those places. And then I'm at Journey to Launch on Instagram, Twitter, and Facebook. I'm mostly on Instagram. I'm trying to build TikTok, but that's been, oh my gosh, a lot. So Instagram is where you can mostly find me. And I love meeting new journeyers. That's what I call people on this journey with me, and say hello.
Awesome. Thank you so much for hanging out with us. It's always fun to hang out with our fellow like podcasting friend. We don't have a ton of them like that have been around with us like for all 6 years, but
yeah,
you're one of them. So it's always a delight.
It was great.
Thanks, Jamila.
That was great. I shared a little bit too much, but it just felt like a safe space. And I have to remember that thousands of other people are going to be in this space, but that's okay. It still feels safe.
It is safe. And you know what I'm learning is we are not all things to all people. And the more salacious things we say, the more hot takes we have, the more frugal fails we partake in, the more we identify our truest of true audience.
Our real frugal friends.
Exactly. Thank you all, our truest of true frugal friends. Clearly, that's what you are if you've made it this far. Thanks for listening. You already know we've got a newsletter called the Friend Letter that goes out 3 times a week. Each day of the week, there's a different theme. So Mondays, we're telling you what's for free, what food for free, activities for free. Wednesdays, we're giving you a savings tip. Fridays, we're talking about life hacks and money mindset mindset shifts. So hopefully at least there's something for everyone. And we want to give a shout out to this friend who replied to the email, because that's another perk. You can just respond to us. We get them. We read them. They said, this is from Michelle, who said, "Hi, Jen and Jill. I hope you ladies are doing well. I've been a listener for years, and I just wanted to take a minute to let you know that the budget toolkit emails are the most helpful thing I think I've ever received from you. I'm finally being consistent with actually looking at my spending and making a plan for the coming month each and every month. And I seriously feel so emotional about it. My husband and I started a little tradition of going out for froyo on the last Friday of every month after we have our budget party at home to celebrate. I feel like you guys are our own personal accountability buddies, cheering us on. This has been such a huge blessing. Thank you." Cry face, heart emoji, cry face, heart emoji, cry face, heart emoji, and all of that needed to be said and described.
Michelle. Yes. Thank you so much. Yeah. Jill didn't even mention the last Friday of every month, we send out a budget toolkit, which tells you what goes on sale the next month, what produce will be in season, like what you should be meal planning, what you should be budgeting for. So like helping you make your budget for the next month on the last weekend of every month. And people have really enjoyed that. And again, it's all free.
I'm so glad that this was helpful for you, Michelle, and that it has become this looked forward to tradition. It's clearly a way that you're getting your husband involved, which it's all just so beautiful. So if you're missing out on this is all sounding really good to you and you want some, frugalfriendspodcast.com. Go get you some of these goodies and then tell your friends about it and get more goodies. See ya.
Yes. Frugal Friends is produced by Eric Sirianni.
Oh, Jen.
Mm.
I am in my sourdough season, about 3 years late to the game. But
No, I mean, there are
it.
still people like super into sourdough. Sourdough, I think, transcends. Like people have always been into sourdough and they still are.
Yeah. Sourdough happened to me. I had girlfriends visit me in September. Shout out to Brittany Rizzo. She brought me down some sourdough starter. She got it past TSA and made 3 loaves. I mean, I don't think that they'd have a problem with it. Whatever. She just was concerned that they'd take her starter. I'm like, I don't think TSA wants that burden. And so she brought it down, made 3 loaves, then left me some starter or discard. I don't know. I still can't figure out the difference between the two words.
It's like leaving you a pet. It's like buying somebody a puppy.
Because
you can't let it die. You're responsible for that now.
Only worse. Yeah, it's like a Tamagotchi. It's like more responsibility than the pet or a child.
Worse than a puppy? I don't think
so it's just been sitting here for now months. And finally, I'm like, I got to do something with this. And I did. It took me 3 days for 1 loaf of bread. And I'm over here thinking, I better not like this. This better be a flop. This better taste horrible because I can't commit to this kind of journey. Unfortunately, it turned out so well. It was so crispy on the outside, smooshy on the inside, had all the holes that you would want in all the right places. Fit butter perfectly. You know how I am with bread. Here I am.
I know how you are with bread.
Making my own. I think that it took 3 days because I'm new to this. I think it can take less than that, but still, the recipe I'm using, at best, it's going to take 2 days. But I am on my next loaf. I fed my starter yesterday. This is things you don't want to know. This is you talking to me about mutual funds. So you're here for it. You're stuck with me. Fed my starter yesterday. Then this morning, see, that's the thing too. You got to time it right. Fed my starter at 9 p.m. Woke up, made my bread this morning. Had to set my alarm for 30 minutes. on 3 separate occasions to stretch and fold before we started podcast recording, because I know I'm not going to be able to get up and stretch and fold my sourdough. So I had to time it all correctly. Now it's doing its bulk rise. So by 10
Now
p.m.
it's bulking. It was cutting, and now it's bulking.
And by 10 p.m. tonight, it's going to be ready to be shaped. I'm going to shape her. Then I'm going to put her in the fridge overnight. And then tomorrow I'll be able to bake her, put her in the oven. So Tuesday, we fed the starter. By Thursday evening, we'll have a loaf of bread. And you know what? You can complain all you want about $5 loaves of bread. And this is why. I mean, yeah, I should just pay the $5. But here I am, because I got starter or discard, TBD.
Yeah. I mean, cool. I also have to, I have similar to a sourdough starter. I have children.
Yes.
I must feed them. And I don't cut them, but I definitely bulk them and have to shape them.
Right. You got to get the timing just right.
Yep. And then 18 years later, you have a fully formed adult.
And just like sourdough, none of it actually saved you money.
Nope.
I'm at just like guac level 5. I think I'm at like sourdough level 12 right now.
Yeah. Wow. Well,
there you have it.
Similar life stages.
Simple Truth brand makes it easy to find better for you products that are free from unwanted ingredients. From fresh produce and snacks to household cleaners and more. You won't find artificial ingredients, preservatives, or harsh chemicals in Simple Truth products. So you can fill your fridge and your home with simple, easy-to-understand choices you can feel good about. Just look for the green Simple Truth circle to get the quality items you want, free from the ingredients you don't want. Simple Truth, exclusively at Baker's.
With the best all-inclusive vacation deals to Mexico and the Caribbean, booking your getaway with Cheap Caribbean Vacations means you have more freedom to do your deal. Whether you want to enjoy snorkeling, endless margaritas, and more, or simply soak up the sun and sand in a tropical paradise, Cheap Caribbean Vacations has your deal for that. Plan and book the exact getaway you want at exactly the right price for you by using our exclusive Budget Beach Finder, or find a featured all-inclusive package to Paradisus by Malia Hotels. And do your deal at cheapcaribbean.com.